So, what are some things that you should know when you are getting your property ready for rent? I'm Steve Rozenberg. If you like this information, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe below. You can also go to my website, steverozenberg.com. So let's talk about getting a property rent ready. This is a very important time because remember, you are operating a business, and every day that property is vacant, you are not making money. You've got to get that property rented as quickly as possible, and also to the right person that's going to like and respect that property and is going to stay in that property, because the lifetime of that client staying in that property is going to make you more money over time than just putting the wrong person in right away and them trashing it. But let's talk about what you got to do to get it rent ready. First of all, you got to price it right? This is price and market, it's price and demand. If it's priced wrong, you're probably not going to get the right person in because it's going to sit vacant, and you may start making emotional reactions because you're getting nervous. Maybe you take someone that you wouldn't have taken on day 3, but now it's day 93 and now you're getting a little nervous. One thing you got to think about when you're doing that is you could be having a discrimination issue or a fair housing issue because maybe someone you didn't take on day 3 is exactly the same person you took on day 93. You've got to have policies, you got to have procedures, you got to have structure, and you want to make sure you're writing that down and you are following that. Now, after you got the property priced correctly, not for emotions of what you think it should rent for, but what the market dictates it'll rent for, because just because when you rented it a year ago in the middle of summer when price and demand was high, you were able to get top dollar. Maybe a year later, it's in the winter when there's not high demand, and maybe you can't get as much. So remember, real estate is very cyclical. Just because you got it one time doesn't mean you can get it again. Prices go up, prices go down. Now, we all hope it goes up, but the reality is it does fluctuate, and you want to make sure you get the right rental comps for the area to make sure you're getting the right rent for the property. Next thing you want to do is make sure the house is clean and looks good. This is the biggest mistake people do. They want to put it on the market right away to get people to see the property. There's a problem with that is if you get someone who sees a house that's real shitty and it looks really bad, how do you think they're going to treat the property? I want someone to see the property when it's in the perfect condition. That just means you got to have your policies set up so that you get the property turned around and looking good as soon as possible. Every single time I put someone in a property before it was rent ready, I always had problems with that tenant. They never took care of the property the way I thought. And I realized that it was my fault for trying to rush it. I tried saving a week or a couple days, and I ended up getting a bad resident because of that. So you want to make sure the property looks good. Some of the things you want to do to get the property looking good is, number 1, curb appeal. You drive up to the property. How does it look? When I'm driving up to the property, I'm envisioning myself and my family living in this place. Is the yard manicured? Is there trash in the yard? Is there mail hanging out of the mailbox? These are all things that are very, very important that you really got to think about. Then when you get out of the car, how does it look? Is there cars in the driveway? Is there stuff in the yard? Are there toys? Make sure it's clean. Make sure it's manicured. I suggest putting mulch in the front yard with even some flowers, very inexpensive. Make sure that the yard is trimmed and all the trees are trimmed back. It just gives a much better appearance, and that is your first impression. Once you go up to the property, I would always make sure that the doorknob and the door are clean, at least painted or new, so that they look good. Open the door, make sure the door's not sticking and you got to shove it with your shoulder to get it open, right? Because again, they're seeing if this is something that the landlord didn't fix in the beginning, how's he going to fix other things? Going inside the property, paint is always something that sells very, very well. Fresh paint, fresh carpet is the best thing you could do. Now, sometimes it can be expensive, I get it, but if you can put carpet or the laminate tile or vinyl siding, anything that you can put in, make sure it's new or especially at least professionally cleaned. Make sure the walls match and there's no spotty touch up. If you have to touch up a big section of the wall, at least paint the whole wall. Don't just do sections of the wall. That's key because a lot of people want to just do sections and cut costs, but you can tell the difference because paint wears different over time. Next, you want to make sure the house smells good. You don't want it smelling like cigarettes or animals. You want, if anything, to smell like fresh paint and fresh carpet. That's the best smell. But you just want it smelling good. You also want to make sure that there's no trash or debris in the property. A lot of people put trash, debris, they put all these things in the property and they let them know, hey, we'll clean it out once you move in. Don't do that. Have it all removed. Have the house looking clean because they're picturing their belongings and their things in the property. And if your stuff is in the property, they cannot picture where their couch is going to go, where their bed's going to go, any of those things. So make sure it's clean. Clean and comfortable is the key. Always make sure that all the lights are turned on when you're showing the property and all the blinds are open. It makes the house look much bigger. So again, these are just some quick tips of things that you can do. Price it correctly. Make sure that the first appearance when you drive up looks good. Then when you go inside the house, make sure it's clean. Make sure it smells good. Make sure there's no clutter and debris. Make sure it's very well lit. Those are the things that will get your property leased as fast as possible. Again, this is Steve Rozenberg. Go to my website, steverozenberg.com. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.